Hi folks, you're with us today, Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about this is sort of an interesting phenomenon. It's where the woke brigade, if you will, and they're very well funded through NGOs, the public service, and academia, and various underground groups, activist groups, and one of the things they do is they insert activists into a predominantly male, working environment, say a factory, for example. So, or a company that is manufacturing heavy and therefore employs mostly men. Now, women tend not to apply for the dirty jobs and the working in a dirty, dusty, grimy factory type thing. And very few women want to do that. And similarly, the people that are employed there tend to have, some sort of trade or certification in some sort of industrial occupation. It could be sheet metal work. It could be, woodworking, electronics, carpentry, that sort of stuff. So a trade, which very few women have, and even ones that go through trade school can't wait to get out of it. It's not much fun having to get up at 4:30 in the morning to be on the work site at 6. But anyway, so they target the activist groups, and again they're surprisingly well organized, and they're superbly well funded. With the George Soroses and the BlackRock dumping up lots of cash, and they're also given places in the public service to engage in this sort of activism. So very well funded and quite well focused, and they're motivated ideologically. So, well, hey, that business over there, it's a manufacturing business. It's 98% or whatever male. So we have to go in there, and we have to excuse me, it's a boys' club, and we have to go in there and spread the word about feminism, and we got to tell them they're all Nazis and so on. So we're leading social change. We're fighting the fucking patriarchy, because when we fight the patriarchy, we're fighting Hitler. So they have their heads filled with all this nonsense, very similar to how the communists, the revolutionary communists, used to try and infiltrate businesses or schools or universities with activists to try and sort of blame and shame and so on. Now, you've probably all seen, espionage movies like the Undercover Agent that maybe is looking for industrial secrets or something like that, or they're a spy or some shit, and somebody inside the organization is onto them. They're going to discover the spy. They're kind of getting close. They're putting the evidence together, and so the spy goes to their handlers and say, "Listen, this Billy Bob's getting close. He's going to work out any day now. I'm a fucking spy. So you got to take him out. He's got to meet a sticky end from an accident of some sort." And they go, "Not a problem. We'll fix it." Now we're not talking that level of that extreme level of things, but architecturally it's the same here, and this is the bit that this essay is about. So what's happening is, and I've got enough verifications of this to be pretty clear. Now, how widespread it is, we could debate, and the sources of this we can similarly debate, but that it's happening is beyond doubt. So it goes like this. So say in the case of the factory, they've already got someone, they managed to get someone in HR in the head office, maybe more than one person in human resources in the head office. That person is then prevailed upon to place an activist in the factory. Now, the factory and the head office may be, hundreds of miles apart, but so the factory's typically going to be an area where real estate's cheaper, like in a rural area, maybe out of the outer suburbs of the city, something like that. So they then they then hire an activist, get some woman in to be an activist. So when there are meetings in the factory, she's able to, and is effectively paid to, she's not paid to actually work there. she's paid to, well, this is just a boys' club, and you're all misogynists. This is a patriarchy, and somebody looked at me in the wrong way, and so she's paid there to pretend to be a victim and surrounded by the most terrible evil and by absolutely extreme levels of injustice. And she's only demanding equality. She's only demanding to be treated the same way. She's only saying and pointing out that the patriarchy is oppressing. It's been this way for centuries. The patriarchy, the misogyny, and I was raped 10 times today, and she's paid to do this sort of thing. So everybody then starts to, I don't know, I never said anything to her. Well, what patriarchy is she talking about? It doesn't matter. Maybe there is no patriarchy. Maybe there is no misogyny. Maybe there never has been. But it's just the place women don't want to work in that sort of job. There's a couple of office jobs in the place, and that's the one. That's where she's been inserted. And she's there to do nothing other than stir up trouble and spread disquiet among the staff and confusion and have everyone tiptoeing and treading on eggshells, and that's her job, and that's her objective. Anyway, the boss who's there goes, and a new boss is hired, and some straight white guy in his in his 50s, I'm led to believe. So they're having they have these regular meetings, like a health and safety meeting or something like that, having these meetings, and she decides that she's going to let this new boss know that really ideologically and morally she's in charge here, not him. She's in charge, and she's going to set the moral and ideological pace of things, and she's just going to let him know. This is just a boys' club, just misogynist patriarch and neo-Nazi. I bet you all support Donald Trump. This sort of thing. Anyway, this new boss rounds on her. The previous boss sort of was humble and mealy-mouthed and kept on apologising and grovelling. The new boss isn't going to do anything of the sort. And he tells her straight out at the meeting in front of everybody, hey, if you want to be an activist, you do it in your own time. Do not do it here at work. You're paid to do a job here at work. This is the job. This is what you're paid to do. You want to be an activist, do it in your own time. Moreover, do not use the company's resources, such as the company's computers and so on, to engage in your activism. You're here to do work. Do I make myself clear? I will not tell you again. Now, that's almost exactly word for word, give or take, the sort of thing that I would say if that was pushed in, that sort of activism was pushed in my face. But here's the bit. This woman can now call in a hit squad. She can go to her handler, because effectively this is what it is now. She can go to her handlers. Now, it doesn't matter whether her handlers are in the public service or funded and paid by the public service, that is the taxpayer. Doesn't matter whether NGOs, who are in effect funded by a taxpayer anyway, because they all claim, they make bullshit claims to be fucking charities. It doesn't matter, or it could be some little group or squad in academia, again funded by the tax. It doesn't matter where precisely it comes from. Something funded by Soros or BlackRock, who cares? But the point is that she can call in the hit squad. In the same way that if a story comes out in media that the globalists don't like, they can call in what they claim to be the fact checkers. The fact checkers, and they come in, and no matter how accurate, reliable, dependable, or whatever the information is, if they don't like it, they'll find a way of fact checking it. And if they don't have much joy there, they'll go after the journalist or the writer of the piece, and they'll find something on them. But either way, they'll bring it down. And this is the same situational architecture here. So that she realizes that with this boss here, that she's really been completely neutralized. If she does engage in activism, she's going to get fired. And the chances of another activist getting in there with this guy at the helm is going to be pretty difficult. So the solution is, well, why should she back down? She's fucking fighting Nazis. She's fucking fighting Hitler. So she should be allowed to do this, and he shouldn't be allowed to stop her or limit her in any way. And if he's trying to stop her and limit her, that means he's Hitler. So she can call in the hit squad. Now, the first step one with the hit squad is that they go over, like a fine-tooth comb, go over the social media, all this sort of. You can actually call in these hit squads, like a human resource department can say, well, fuck, we're in a difficult situation here. The senior management wants someone who's got all these qualifications. The only people that have these qualifications and credentials are straight white males. We've got to stop this. We've got to stop a straight white male getting into this job. So they can call in the hit squad. Some of these people are actually activists already within the HR department, and the CEO and the board of directors don't know. So they're in the what have I just knocked over? So they can call in this hit squad to go through with a fine-tooth comb all the social media posts, including they can discover aliases. I mean, it's quite exhaustive actually and quite forensic what they can do. And they'll find something on an applicant, a straight white male applicant. They'll find something on them. So, well, there you can't. So they'll go to the CEOs. Like, we can't employ this guy. Look, I mean, he's a Nazi. Or maybe an irregularity with his CV. He's claimed to work at a place for 5 years, but it was only 4.5 years. Well, look at that dishonesty. How can we employ somebody who's that dishonest? So it could be those sorts of things, but it doesn't really matter. So they can call in the hit squad on this guy and find something on him, and then that's fed to the activist in HR. The HR activist says, "Well, I need to the CEO." She says, "Oh, I need a meeting. Something very serious has come up." Well, it's about Billy Bob, that guy we've hired to run the factory or whatever. Look, we've discovered that he's actually a neo-Nazi. Yeah. We've discovered that he eats. He's got swastikas printed on his underwear. I mean, hey, we got to get rid of this guy. Imagine the publicity of this guy. Fire the motherfucker. So this is how they. So they anyway. This guy, this particular guy, must have been a bit of a clean skin. They couldn't really find anything on him. So they tried to do other things, set him up with baits and this. Now, I've seen this sort of thing when, say, in a slightly different scenario where somebody, a senior manager, isn't going along with something corrupt that the top management are doing. Could be big insurance fraud or something like that, and the guy isn't going along with it. He's not against it. He's not, but they're so uncertain as to where his loyalties may lie that they think we've got to get him. We've got to nail him. We've got to say that he raped little Susie, in the office there, or tried to rape her, or behaved inappropriately. He grabbed Susie's ass with both hands. So they go out of their way. In fact, go to insane levels to try and get something on Billy Bob, and they set up bait and traps and all sorts of things. And I've been in a front row seat watching that shit go on more than once, by the way. So anyway, this sort of thing. So they've got to find something on this guy. Ended up they couldn't do it. So it seems or not so far at least. I mean, it's not like for want of trying, but the mere fact they can call in these hit squads, that it's that organised, it's that level of intensity, that level of resources is available to be called in against any straight white male that gets in the way, and that just gives you, I think, a flavour of what's going on out there. And the level of corruption, if you will, it's certainly corruption of purpose, the level of corruption that's going on in these sorts of things. So by the mere fact that this new manager guy in this place is telling the staff member, hey, you want to be an activist? Fine, do it in your own time. Don't play the activist in here while you're on clock and getting paid to do a job. Even that is now considered, far right fascist Nazi behaviour. Even that, and that's the insanity of the times we're living in. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.